Create Art Podcast. Commentary. Rest. Hello, friends. This is Timothy Chemo Bryan, your head instigator for Create Art Podcast, where I use my 20 plus years of experience in the arts and education world to help you tame your inner critic and create more than you consume. So, April has just passed us. We have done National Poetry Writing Month. Exhausting. And we're going back into the Kickstart Creativity cards. Now, I'm doing these all year. I'm trying to get about once a week in with these. Obviously taking off for Poetry Month and then National Novel Writing Month. And that'll be in November of 2023. And with these Kickstart Creativity cards, and they're by Bonnie Smith Whitehouse. They're 50 cards. They're broken up into 3 different categories. I'm going through the intention cards first, but what they do is they give you kind of an idea, a word to work with. This week's word is rest. They kind of define it for you, and then they give you some challenges. So the definition that they have here is, the action that they want you to do is to take deliberate rest, or make a deliberate rest a way to refrain from the pressure to labor constantly. Now, before we get started with the card, I just want to say that this is a tough one for me from the get-go. You can ask my wife. She will let you know that getting me to rest is, it's tough. But, doing that rest will help you avoid burnout, and it will help your artwork immensely if you give yourself that time to rest. I always like to, take a look at the definitions of these words. And according to Merriam-Webster, which I do have a link in the show notes for this, and I do have a link in the show notes for Kickstart Creativity. But rest is a bodily state characterized by minimal functional and metabolic activities, freedom from activity or labor, a state of motionlessness or inactivity, peace of mind or spirit, a rhythmic silence in music, or something used for support. And that's what I want you to focus on with this, is something to use for support. So rest is not bad. It does not mean that you're lazy. It just means that your body is trying to tell you what it needs. And I know for those of us in the Western world, that can be difficult to listen to our bodies, but we really need to, because that's all we have to work with when it comes to our art and our creativity. I mean, even if we're like a paraplegic or a quadriplegic, or somebody that can't move their body, they still have that artistic spark inside of them, and it still wants a way to get out. Myself, I have MS, which you've probably heard me talk about in previous episodes. And one of the things that I need to do is be very cognizant of what my body is telling me. And I do need to take those rests. I do need to take those cat naps. And I am not Superman. I am Batman. And even Batman needs to rest every once in a while. So let's take a look at what the card says here. Rarely do we intentionally and regularly rest. Rest removes us from working, even the work of creation. Recall that in the Judeo-Christian creation story, even the Creator took a rest. While we rest, we imagine, dream, and heal. I'm going to stop it right there and just go, yeah, this could be really good for your inspiration. If you're, struggling with whatever project you're working on, take a rest, take a nap, sit back. I think Thomas Edison was notorious for his naps, and look where it got him. So definitely take that rest. You're not being greedy. You're not being lazy. It is a necessary part of life. And you may even, get a better idea or figure out whatever issue you have that is stopping you, that is blocking you from creating whatever project you're working on. Continuing on, make time for rest, light candles, eat mindfully, spend time with loved ones, go outdoors and daydream. Savoring and appreciating life belongs on our schedules. There's more to this life than consuming and completing our checklists. There is power in rest. Oh gosh, it's like this card was, I need to tattoo it to my chest. And my tattoo artist listens to this, so, think about that the next time we talk. But anyhow, so that's how this card describes it. And like I said, I am guilty of it as well. I'm very guilty of it. And I am learning to give myself that grace and give myself that rest. I was talking with Harry Duran of Podcast Junkies. I got interviewed on his show, and that's one of the things he asked me about. He was like, well, is there something that you've changed your mind about? And I told him, I said, giving myself the grace to rest. And, creativity just wants to, stuff just wants to burst out of me, but I need to make sure that my body can accept all this stuff bursting out from me. So I need to give it a rest every once in a while. All right, so now let's look at the 3 challenges that we have in front of us here. Consider your beliefs about rest and work. What are they? Did you inherit them? And that's an easy one for me. Yeah, I absolutely inherited them because, in my family, hard work and working all the time was in order. As a matter of fact, my day job, I have so many hours of leave that I haven't used that I either have to use them or lose them. So I have to take off every other Friday for the rest of this year in order to burn off all that leave. And that could be time that I'm spending with, my kids, my wife, my family, outdoors, doing a garden. See, I already just thinking about it, I want to fill it up with stuff. And I'm catching myself in the moment doing that. So I just need to rest. And that's what I did this morning is that I actually slept in. I usually record these episodes on Sundays. And I slept in until about 7:30. Now, of course, I stayed up until about almost midnight, reading and listening to music and all that stuff. But I did sleep in, sort of. Now, tomorrow's Monday, and I'll probably sleep till 6 and, jump on to work at 7 and fill my day up. But the important thing is I can't do a good job if I'm not taking a rest. Okay, so the next challenge is design a rest ritual for yourself, your family, or your group. So my rest ritual is pretty much there's a sofa right next to my recording studio here. So I will sit there and lay on that and not get up and, maybe watch some Maker TV, think about projects around the house. See, there I go again, thinking about projects that I can do when I should be resting. But resting is good for me because it does give me a lot of ideas, a lot of inspiration. So rest can help in that aspect of it, but I need to remind myself and you, rest your body, rest your mind. That stuff is that stuff can hold off for a little bit. So the third challenge is stop what you're doing and devote 10 minutes to savoring something. What did you choose to savor? This, I recently interviewed Ronica Merrill, and she was talking about how words are delicious. So, something I recently savored and took time with is my poetry. I took a whole month with that and wrote some really good poetry. So my plan is to savor that poetry and then take a look at some of the old poetry that I've done and just do a light edit on it and then get it, in digital form. And I would like to, by the end of 2023, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but do a collected works of my stuff. So from the early stuff till yesterday, and see what that'll entail, and see if people are interested in that. But yeah, I'd like to know what you're doing for your rest. Are you taking a rest? Why aren't you taking a rest? Maybe this is your rest time. Maybe you sit and listen to this podcast while you're resting. I've been told I have the Bob Ross of a voice. I'm the Bob Ross when it comes to art part of podcasts. So maybe that's causing you to rest. I watch Bob Ross to force me to rest sometimes. So if that's what you're doing, please let me know. I'd like to learn about your resting ritual. So you can go ahead and email me at timothy@createartpodcast.com. And I'd like to know, and maybe we can share it with the rest of the listeners and help each other out. Well, that was today's card. I appreciate you taking a listen to this podcast, and I really appreciate the time that you put into it. And I hope you appreciate the time that I put into it. I do want to ask you a slight favor. If you got any benefit out of this, I'd ask you to go ahead and share it with a friend. Whatever app you're using, if you're on my website, go ahead and give them the website. If you're, using an app, share it through your app. There's lots of different ways, lots of different apps out there. So I'm not going to go through them all. But yeah, go ahead and share it with a friend. I don't mind. Don't mind at all. The other thing I'd like to ask of you is that if you have something going on in your neck of the woods, or if you have, a piece of art that you're working on that I can help you out with, or if you want to get your work out there to other people, I'd be happy to interview you on this show. You can email me, timothy@createartpodcast.com. And I'd be happy to get back with you and talk about it and see what we can do about that. The last thing I'm going to ask of you, and I know I'm asking a ton, and I apologize for that, but could you go ahead and email me and let me know what would make this a 5-star podcast in your eyes? I'd like to know about that. You can, a lot of the apps out there, you can comment right there on the app and leave your review or all that. And by all means, go ahead and do that. Even if it's not a 5-star, if it's a 4-star, if it's a 1-star, go ahead and do that. But what I would ask you to do, please, is to go ahead and email me. Same email address, timothy@createartpodcast.com. And let me know what's going to make this a 5-star podcast for you. Now I'm going to release you to the rest of your day. I hope this was enjoyable for you. I know it was enjoyable for me. So go out there. Tame that inner critic. Create more than you consume. And go out there and make some art for somebody you love, yourself. I'll talk to you next time.